an event happens and our brain locks up. It locks to a meaning that isn't true. And then the meaning creates emotion. And then that emotion becomes our life. And it filters everything. And it's just not true. We distorted, we deleted, we generalized. She deleted that he came back multiple times. She distorted it into he doesn't love me. She generalized it into her own life and anyone else in it. That's what the mind will do. You did nothing wrong. That's the mind undirected. That's the mind undirected by your soul, by your heart, by your faith, by those higher emotions of courage and love without conditions. Not love because you do what I fucking want you to do. That wasn't loving towards your father. She never started to think, what the fuck could he be going through that he'd actually leave our family? That's not an easy fucking thing to do for anybody. Even if you hated your family, it's not an easy thing to do because of the structure of family and friends and life and love and finances and everything else. Holy fuck, he must have had an unbelievable amount of pain inside. Instead of thinking about me, me, me. If I love someone, I need to enter the world. But the next time you're throwing a judgment on someone else, remind yourself why you're doing it. You're doing it because you're uncertain. You're doing it because you feel insignificant. You're doing it because you feel disconnected, but you're the one making yourself insignificant and uncertain and disconnected. Because all that would disappear if you entered their world and tried to understand or appreciate. Not understand intellectually. That's why I say appreciate what they're going through. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. But if you appreciate it, there'll be compassion. And where there's compassion, there is love. Compassion means you care passionately. That's where it comes from. Not really, but I made it up. It sounded good, didn't it? It was really good. But with compassion, two things happen. You're not in pain. The only pain is when we get stuck in ourselves and we make up the story about me, 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 me. And you're not like that, Patricia. It's very obvious you're a love bug. All you want is love. But if you want fucking love, you have to give it when it's not easy. And you have to manage the mind because the mind will always make up the worst scenario. So you'll have a fight or a flight. It's looking for the drama so it can mobilize itself. You got to calm that little turkey down and say, look, it's not a saber-toothed tiger. It's not life and death. And oh, by the way, I am now... This all happened when you were how old?
42.
No. When you were how old, how did this happen?
10.
10. You know, 32 years later, I'm still going to be worried about this shit? What a waste of a life. But no more. And by the way, all this was about her boss.
Fucker.
So tell me now, what do you pull from this and how will it change your life? Is this just a conversation in the moment? Or have you gotten an insight that can change everything?
I've gotten lots of insights.
Tell me what you pull from this conversation, please.
I've obviously loved conditionally, and I need to love
unconditionally. By the way, who else has loved conditionally? All of us have, but do we have to continue to do it? And by the way, when you love conditionally, who always gets hurt? You do because we do, because when you love conditionally, it feels like a trade. I love you as long as, and the person knows that at some level. And so they can't really love back because it isn't love. It's manipulation. I'll be nice to you if you give me this. I'll love you as long as you behave the way I want. As long as you speak the way I want you to speak. As long as you agree with me. As long as you follow my rules, the blue rules that make me comfortable, then I'll love you. But that's not love. That's you just finding a way to meet your own needs for certainty and significance. There's nothing wrong with that. It just leaves you empty and creates lots of pain. How many see? So the only way out of pain is more spiritual growth. And as simplistic as that sounds or overgeneralized, spiritual growth just means seeing more of life than just your fucking self. Right? But it's who I am, and so I can take that home. And I can build that in my community. I can build that in my company. I can build that in my family. I can build that in anything.